So for this project we're going to be making some homemade fire starters. These can be packed in your fire lighting bag to give you the best chance of getting a fire when you're out on camp if the conditions aren't great. For this you're going to need an old pan. If you haven't got an old pan, you can get a cheap pan from the pound shop for £1. You want an old jam jar or similar, because that's what we're going to boil the wax in. You need a source of wax. That can be a big candle, or it can be some of these tea lights that come out of the 4 wrappers, or even some wax crayons, broken wax crayons that you're not using anymore. That'll get you some pretty colours. And we're going to do a variety of different types of firelighters. For the fairy pillows, you're going to need some cotton wool pads. These can be used as a firelighter on their own. If you pull them apart, there's lots of soft cotton wool in there, and that'll take a spark off a ferro rod. When you can do the same when they're coated in wax, and they'll burn for even longer. We're going to make some egg carton firelighters, and we can put some big wood shavings in there, some smaller wood shavings. If you've got a pet, the pet bedding for that will do. You can even use old bits of bark that you've got. And this was some packing material of something that was delivered to the post. That works equally well. And we're also going to make some fire strings. Now this is natural jute fibre. This is great stuff for fire lighting with ferro rods, because if you tease these apart you get individual strands, which makes it a horrible rope for tying knots in. But teasing it apart makes it really good for catching a spark, and if you leave the end thick it will burn like a candle. But what we're going to do with those is we're going to coat them in wax up to halfway, so we can use them as a longer firelighter. So now we need to move to the kitchen. So now we're in the kitchen. We need to fill our pan with hot water. It needs to be less than half the depth of our glass jar, because we don't want the jar to float. I've done this before, so I've already got wax in here. But what you normally do is cut up your candle, put your candle in here, or if you're using the little tea lights, put the little tea lights in, or your wax crayons. If you're using wax crayons, take the paper off first. So we place that in, and then we're going to put this on a very low heat. And what we want is for the wax to burn, for the wax to melt without catching fire. So we need to keep an eye on this, and this is certainly something that you need adult supervision for. So I've got a pot of melted wax, and I've got a piece of greaseproof paper. This is going to be helpful as we make things. And then to make the fire starting fairy pillows, I like to dip them about halfway in. That gives you half of the surface that can be used as a fire, that will take a spark, and it's plenty of wax for burning. You will probably get 5, maybe 10 minutes depending on how thick they are. I mean, just lay them on the greaseproof paper there, and hopefully they'll peel off the wax. They'll peel off. So they're the fairy pillows, and we can make a few of them. It's always good to have them. The deeper into the wax you dig them, the more waterproof they'll be. Your technique for this will in part depend on where you're going to store them. If you've got a waterproof fire starting kit, that gives you a bit more flexibility. Now for the string, it's a similar thing. I dip it about halfway in, try and get some of the excess off, and these will burn like an old taper if you ever used wax tapers in days gone by, or a bit like a candle wick for those that aren't familiar with a wax taper. So we just dip them in. These are one of my favoured firelighting methods, particularly because if you fluff up the ends they'll take a spark, but you can also light them with a match or a lighter if you are so inclined. So we'll just dip all of those in and leave them to dry. Making these out of natural twine is a good thing to do if you've been doing knot tying with cubs and they've tied a load of knots that you can't get undone in some natural twine. You can cut it up into little bits and make good use of it. So we've got two different methods here. The third method, we just put some, so I'm going to not use the big ones, I'm going to get this dusty stuff in first. This is out of my garage when I've been woodworking. There's a few little chunks in there as well, that's not going to do any harm, they can go in. And then for this one, I'm just going to pour some wax in. I'm going to make sure it's on the wax proof paper still, because the wax will soak through the base. And I'm just going to pour some wax in. Now these, depending on how full you fill them with wax, these will burn for up to 20 minutes. Let them burn for 20 minutes before, which is quite a long time. All as we're really looking to do with these firelighters is to sustain a flame for long enough, to put a little tinder bundle on, and to get some slightly larger bits of fuel. These are just to give us a bit of a helping hand if the conditions aren't favourable. With these, as I said, you can peel them open to fluff them up. These you can unfluff the end to fluff them up and they'll take a spark. With these, when we cut them up, if we tear the card, we can fluff the card up, it'll take a spark. It's a bit harder to spark on these. It's much easier to light these with a lighter or a candle. So we've got three different types of firelighters here, that will help you light fires in any conditions you need to. Thank you for watching.